and your Democrat candidate for president because Joe Biden finally exposed his senility at the debate. Thanks, Joe. I was selected because I am the ultimate diversity hire. I'm both a woman and a person of color. So if you criticize anything I say, you're both sexist and racist. I may not know the first thing about running the country, but remember, that's a good thing if you're a deep state puppet. I had 4 years under the tutelage of the ultimate deep state puppet, a wonderful mentor, Joe Biden. Joe taught me rule number 1, carefully hide your total incompetence. I take insignificant things and I discuss them as if they're significant. And I believe that exploring the significance of the insignificant is in itself significant. Talking about the significance of the passage of time, right? The significance of the passage of time. So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time, and there is such great significance to the passage of time. Another trick is trying to sound black. I pretend to celebrate Kwanzaa, and in my speeches, I always do my best Barack Obama impression. So hear me when I say, I know Donald Trump's type. And okay, look, maybe my work addressing the root causes of the border crisis were catastrophic, but my knowledge of international politics is truly shocking. The United States shares a very important relationship, which is an alliance with the Republic of North Korea. It is an alliance that is strong and enduring. And just remember, when voting this November, it is important to see what can be unburdened by what has been. And by what has been, I mean Joe Biden. You think the country went to over the past 4 years? You ain't seen nothing yet.
That was painful.
But there's a couple things. We got to jump right in, okay, on that. There's a couple things going on. Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to the front line with Joe and Joe. Joe Pasillo, Joe Rossinello. We're going way in the breach across social media live Thursday nights, 9 o'clock Eastern time, X, Rumble, Facebook, YouTube. Wherever you see us, please like, subscribe, share this video. Couple things going on. Now, Elon Musk, and it's not his parody account. See, Elon Musk has his blue check mark Elon Musk account, and then there's a parody account that he allows, I guess, to stay up there that's got a blue check mark also. It's not the parody one. On his regular X account, all right, his own X account, he said Gavin Newsom declared that video illegal in the state of California. That's number one. Number two, everything in that effing video is true. It might be satire, Joe. It might be satire. Okay, don't get me wrong. She's DEI. No question about it. She rips off Barack Obama whenever she gets a chance. Joe Biden's senile. Okay. What part of that video is not absolutely true? So it's
Dude,
true.
That's illegal in California. I didn't know that.
Elon Musk said, go ahead, Joe. I want your comments, and I'm going to verify that. This is Elon Musk's account on X, okay? So everybody out there, that's where I'm getting it from. The governor of California just made this parody video, illegal in violation of the Constitution of the United States. Would be a shame if it went viral. That's what Elon said.
How could he make that illegal based upon
Hold
what?
on. So far, it's got 48 million views, okay? No, it's going to be illegal because we're going to play later on, because later on in the show, we're going to go over to Germany. Because everything they talk about, monitoring hate speech, misinformation, we have to monitor the internet because there's haters out there. Joe, it's illegal in their warped, bizarro world, Marxist, Leninist, Stalinist minds, okay? It's illegal because you're saying something they don't like. You're saying something that offends them, Joe. And some poor liberal leftist is crying in their latte because that is hard-hitting satire. That video, I love it. I love it.
I don't know how you could make that illegal. I mean, based upon what? Like a law that he found in a Cracker Jack box? I mean, like how is that? You may not like it. You could say it's disagreeable to me, but I don't know based upon what.
Again, I don't know because I was too busy laughing at the truthfulness of that, okay, of that parody, all right? And when I saw the clip, I was like, well, if Elon Musk is saying it, I don't think he's going to step into a pile of you-know-what with this. If he's saying Gavin Newsom's making it illegal, again, I didn't read too far into it. I was too busy laughing. See, they cry in their lattes, Joe. I laugh while I'm sipping an espresso. That's the difference between us and them. But here's the thing. I mean, it says it all in the on the what do you call that? Sometimes I lose my train of thought. The thing that you show to preview the show. What do you call that? The bookmark or
the thumbnail.
Thumbnail. There you go, Joe. Thanks for straightening me out. So the thumbnail says it all. They're saying the quiet part out loud. These people, Joe, and we're want to throw this out there too. We're going to play you a couple clips just to show you exactly what they're all about. Joe, it's not just the Democrat leadership; it's their rank and file too. They want Trump dead. The only thing they're mad about is the fact that he's not dead. And you know how they show that? See, Joe, shooting an American president, former or not, okay, especially since Trump is actually running for president, shooting a president is a very big deal. I don't think it is to these people. I want to play a couple things and we're going to come right back because, Joe, I want you to dive right in.
This is just to set. These are after the second.
These are after the assassination. Very
the
quickly.
second after the second assassination attempt.
Right. So we're gonna. Well, here let's play it.
Things have changed. Insurrection, I said, now's the time to step up. I mean, what are we going to do? We're going to wait until the jackboots are marching down the street and the brown shirts come rolling out? Our kids get enrolled in Trump Youth? Is that the time to start getting involved? Of course.
Democrat, good morning.
Good morning. I just want to say I'm a very patriotic American. I did 20 years in the military, 2 tours in Vietnam, wounded in 1966, went back in 68. And I look at myself and think about we were supposed, as a military man, we're supposed to close, kill, capture, destroy the enemy by all means available. And to see we let this man Trump destroy America, and I look at it and say, well, these two people have to step up and take that shot. I'm 83, nothing to lose.
I'm sorry, Willie, you're not advocating violence, are you?
Not violence. I'm talking about defending my country.
All right. Dan, in Louisville.
Okay. Now, first of all, let's talk about, see, guys like that, not the second guy. The second guy is an ignorant guy. I respect his service to this country. He's an ignorant guy. He doesn't know the facts, and the media leads that guy around and tries to convince that guy.
No, but the thing about that, though, Joe, that's important. There's a lot of people like that who have been brainwashed, and that's the dangerous part. The first kid that shot at Trump and shot him in the head, he was an ignorant kid. I feel nothing but pity and sorrow for him and his family. He was completely and absolutely brainwashed by the media, by their rhetoric.
But that's why I was saying to you, like the guy in the first clip. And Joe, this is why guys like that guy in the first clip, that's why a guy like that is never, ever, ever, ever going to be in a position where somebody challenges him. Who's the Hitler Youth? They're the ones grooming children. Donald Trump's not grooming anybody. Where's the jackboots going down the street? One of our fellow Catholics, Mark Houck, got dragged out of his house by a couple dozen SWAT agents because he protected his son. And we all know the story. He protected his son in front of an abortion clinic. Merrick Garland sent in the jackboots to go and arrest him. Okay, who are the people putting the kibosh on free speech? Us or them? That guy right there, that first clip, all right? They didn't show his name. I don't care what his name is. He is a punk. He's a punk because he'll never be in a position where somebody said, well, hold it. Really? Where are Trump's jackboots? Where's the Hitler Youth? Where's the Gestapo? Where's the clampdown on communications and the curtailing of free speech? That's all coming from your party, pal. Joe, I got to throw it over to you because I'm getting angry.
Well, it's all projection, to your point. I mean, their actions in many respects are totalitarian in nature. To your point, they're trying to censor speech. No one in history ever is the good guy that censors speech. And the speech is just something they don't want to hear. It's just things they don't want to hear. Now, getting back to that second guy, tons of Americans feel exactly the same way as that man because for 4 years, no, how about this? 7 years, they've been brainwashing Americans, telling them that Donald Trump is Adolf Hitler. They're convinced of it. And he said it right out of his mouth. He's going to destroy the country. They're still saying he's going to destroy democracy. What they don't say, it's the institutional democracy. It has nothing to do with the democracy of the people. Kamala Harris and Joe Biden do not represent that poor man. Yet he would make such a statement. Joe, Trump derangement syndrome is real. It is real. It's irrational. You listen to people, their comments, what they think Donald Trump is. Donald Trump isn't half the things that they say that he is, but he's a threat to the system, and the system will not tolerate it. And that's why they want to get rid of him. And what they did was they convinced tons of Americans like that man that he is Adolf Hitler. Their words, not mine. And Joe, I'm going to tell you this, and we're going to play something by Dan Bongino. I think Donald Trump is in real trouble, as in his life is in danger.
I don't doubt it for a second, but at some point, anybody who's sane has to push back. Like I watched that ridiculous blowhard. Don't ask me why. I asked that blowhard Cenk Uygur, or I watched him on Piers Morgan's show with Eric Prince and the black girl. Why am I forgetting her name? Candace Owens. Okay. And Cenk Uygur really he tries to convince people that Trump's the incendiary one. All because he made fun of people, or he called them names, or he gave them nicknames. Where's Trump consolidating any sort of power in the executive branch, becoming a dictator? Where's Trump putting the kibosh on free speech? Trump's never done anything like that. It's his rhetoric that started. You know what? That's them saying, well, we're sorry that he got shot, but it's his own fault. That's really what they're saying, Joe.
Well, Joe, what they're also saying is, where is the Secret Service? How did that happen again? Where a guy can wait 12 hours outside of a golf course and get within, I think he was 300 yards of the ex-president. How?
Yeah.
How? After the first screw up where a kid rides his bike, look at the fact pattern, with a rifle strapped to his back in a sack, 150 yards from the ex-president.
Right.
How? How is that possible?
Right. And if you ask that question, you're a conspiracy theorist. But it's like, no, it's a legit question.
Another thing, why isn't the United States government investigating that rigorously right now? Why isn't that in the news? I'm going to tell you why it's not.
Go ahead.
Because it's not in their favor.
Because it's like you always say, because they want him dead. They want him dead.
And you know,
I wish
Joe,
like they should have been listening to you 5 years ago. They want him dead. That's
too
it.
many people are comfortable with that too. Don't think they're not.
Oh, listen.
We just showed two instances, particularly one, the gentleman in Louisiana. Many people, maybe they're not vocalizing those feelings, but I'm going to tell you right now, they have absolutely no problem with Donald Trump being killed, and that's a problem. That's a problem.
They're not Americans. See, here's my thing. I'm going to tell you a couple people, Joe, that, okay, full confession to all those out there at the front line with Joe and to Joe. There's some people in this world, Joe Rossinello, that I absolutely effing detest. That if you asked me, okay, some of whom I pray for, force myself to pray for, but I know that I should, as a Christian, I ought to pray for them, okay? I hate Hillary Clinton. I hate Barack Obama. I hate what they stand for. I hate what they're all about. I hate the people in the media. I hate them, okay? I'm never, ever, if Trump gets killed, you'll never hear the words come out of my mouth again, okay, about political or condemning political violence. I never will. I'm not going to say I want it, but I'm never going to condemn it. You want to know why? Because they won't condemn it. So I'm not going to play their game and say, like, if God forbid, I would never, ever wish it or pray for it in any way. If Joe Biden got killed while he was president, I'm not going to applaud that. It's horrible for our country. Doesn't matter what his politics are at that point. You can't kill the president. These people, like you said, they're all happy to do it. I will never, if any of them get killed in an act of political violence, I will never open my mouth. I'm just going to sit there and shut. When they press me, if anybody presses me, well, what do you think about that? I'm going to go, no comment. I don't have a comment, because they don't seem to have they seem to think that it's justified, just like that first guy we played, Joe. Well, they seem to think it's justified.
It's a shame. And to be honest with you, it's an indictment. I'm embarrassed. This has been an embarrassing chapter of American history. Embarrassing. And it should open people's eyes. I'm going to tell you this right now. If this isn't opening your eyes to what has been going on in America, the one legacy, if I was to say that Donald Trump gave to America, he showed America just how corrupt our country really is and in need of reform. It's in need of a massive overhaul. If you're okay with this type of behavior, weaponizing the DOJ against a political adversary, censorship, not thoroughly investigating two assassination attempts, I got news for you. You're part of the problem too.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm sorry, because this is a time where people have to come together and see the danger. Because I am telling you this right now, this is a danger for every regular working person in America. And if you don't see that, if you can't see past your own political identity, I got news for you. You are part of the problem too. That has to get addressed in this country. People have to stop being affiliated with people who don't support them, don't care about them. And if you don't believe me, the policy should tell you everything you need to know. So should your checkbook. So should your grocery bill. So should your fuel costs. I can go on and on and on. And Joe, you can't help people who refuse to acknowledge reality. I got news for you. And there's so many of them. Those things that I just spoke about, Joe, that's reality.
Right.
That's not some political ideology. That's just hardcore reality. If you are not recognizing that, how about this? They just let in 20 million people that are going to devastate the poor and the working poor in America by raising their rents because it's going to drive housing costs up. This is not advanced economics. This is basic. It is going to drive wages down, and it's going to make harder for people who pay taxes to look for work. That's reality.
Right.
They did that to the poor and the lower middle class in America that's already struggling.
But we let them. See, we know. See, guys like us and many, many, many people out there who've been saying it for years. We've been opening our mouths. We let them silence us because we don't fight. We don't fight the right way. What I mean by that is this. See, they throw around the word fascist, Donald Trump's a. They don't even know what the word freaking means. Okay, if you ask an average idiot, Antifa idiot, they don't know what the word fascist means. They couldn't tell. Oh, that means totalitarian. Wrong. It's not what it means. Okay, but when we call them what they are, we're actually being truthful. Okay, I was watching a clip the other day about Joe McCarthy. Joe McCarthy was absolutely correct. Okay. And we're afraid to do what he did because the left did to him, or the left will do to you what they did to him, which is to vilify him, to try to destroy his reputation, everything else. Why didn't they do that to John F. Kennedy? Why didn't they do that to Bobby Kennedy?
They killed
Why
them.
didn't they? What's that?
They killed them.
No. That was later. That was later. I'm talking about the time of the House Un-American Activities Committee. There were communists in Hollywood. There were communists in the government. There were communists in the State Department. There are communists in the media. There are communists in industry. And Joe, we're not talking about just being a communist, like being a part of a political party. We're talking about people who actively pursue the overthrow of the American government. Nowadays, they do it a little bit different. Everything you're seeing, whether it's DEI, whether it's 20 million illegals coming into the country, why are we so afraid to get into the public square? And every time they open their mouths, just turn around right back in their face and say, well, that's very Marxist of you. You're a Marxist. You're not a Democrat. You're not a liberal. Okay. You're a communist. You would advocate that. They're saying that's the whole point of this show, Joe. They're saying the quiet part out loud. They'll advocate for the violent overthrow of the United States government. How do you do that? Start with the head, or the guy who's about to become the head. Take him out first. And conservatives are just so afraid to fight to get in the gutter with them. I've been saying this for decades. They don't want to get in the gutter with the left. Call them the communists and the Marxists that they are. Accuse them of what they're actually doing, which is trying to overthrow the United States government. They don't want, you said the poor, working poor. What do they give a crap about the poor and working poor? They don't care about them.
No, I know
They're
that.
just going to be. They're
But
just
that's
going to
where
go into
people
the
should
grind.
be aware of that.
Joe,
All
they're
the-
going to go into the grinder. Those people.
Oh, I got news for you. If she gets elected, we're going to go into the grinder.
Well, I'm saying, but we already know that we'll probably be dead. If she gets elected. Don't worry about it. She'll probably keep that. She'll probably keep that a real Marxist like Merrick Garland, who Chuck Schumer tried to call a moderate. Merrick Garland is a vicious revolutionary, is what he is. I wish people would understand that. He sits there in front of Congress and claims he doesn't know anything. He's the one who sent the jackboots into Mark Houck, a Roman Catholic, into his house to arrest him at 7 o'clock in the morning. That was him. He did it. He's the one who put that father in Virginia on the terrorist watch list and other people that want to go yell at the school boards on a terrorist watch list. He is the Stasi, Joe, Merrick Garland. He's the Stasi. He is the Cheka. He is the American version of those things. And he will stop at nothing, that guy. He'll stop at nothing. He'll throw you right in friggin' jail, and he'll leave. We played the clip a couple weeks ago. He threatened people who are even thinking about protesting the election. Because, we have 1,500 people from January 6th that are in jail. Why are we so afraid to call them what they are? They are violent revolutionaries. They are violent Marxist revolutionaries, and they need to be defeated because guess what, Joe? They will ground you into dust.
The reason why they don't is because they control the press, and the press controls the people. That's the truth. The press controls the people, and they basically beat their drum, and that's why you get that guy from Louisiana that we just played, who's completely deranged. And there's tons of people like that. They're deranged because they're not getting the correct information. And then what also happens, you have kids that are groomed throughout their school years, from grammar school right up through college. They come home and they're brainwashed too.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why. You see, that's the problem. We have to combat the messaging. We don't, you see, because here's another thing. You start talking like a lot of these, like bring up these subjects, people think you're crazy. They think you're crazy. Meanwhile, there's tons of evidence to show otherwise,
Right.
but you're shouted down because the press controls the people. People are glued to that MSNBC. They're glued to CNN, and they parrot all the nonsense that they hear. They're even
Right.
glued to Fox. They're full of crap too.
But here's the thing. I mean, there is, see, if you look collectively, I'm not going to suggest even for a moment, Joe Rossinello here at the front line with Joe and Joe, I'm not going to suggest for a moment that the media doesn't have power. They have a tremendous amount of power. But when you look at the collective audience, just the mass of Elon Musk, of Joe Rogan, of Tucker Carlson, of Steven Crowder, of Candace Owens, Daily Wire, all these quote unquote conservative groups, okay? Guys like Bongino. Bongino does a video, gets 1 million views. We're going to play him in a couple minutes. When collectively these people need to get in a room, this is what the left does. This is what the left, everybody go down to Florida, go to the nice weather, go take over an entire hotel. Trump will give you part of his hotel, and go game plan the way they do. And point them out, and then you can maybe in this way when you do happen to find yours. Oh, and demand that Republican politicians do the same thing, so that when Ted Cruz goes on MSNBC, he calls them Marxists right on the show. See, these are the things nobody wants to hear me say. I know you are very tolerant of me, all right, but I've been saying for a long time, you got to get in the gutter with them because that's where they are, and they're dragging you into the gutter anyway. You might as well get in there and throw a few punches. So, and I mean rhetorical punches, but get in there and start throwing some blows, man. This thing's not going away. These people, like I said, they don't like America. They've never liked America. What they want is they want the Soviet style in America. We said this before. They want the upper class, which they think they're going to be a part of. Funny enough, wait till they get their comeuppance, a lot of these people who find out they're not invited to the club. All right, even though they played the game, all right, they're going to be asked to sacrifice themselves for the revolution. Okay, they want to eat foie gras and drink Grey Goose with Barack Obama. Okay, and his husband, his wife. Okay, Michelle. They want to sit, sip at the cocktail parties. And they want everybody else to suffer, and then we'll all be in the slave class. Those who are not killed will all be in the slave class. We're just told to get up, go to work, and go provide them the goods and services they want so we can keep them in the lap of luxury. Why is this shocking to people? This has gone on throughout human history. Why is it shocking that this is Fidel Castro died a billionaire? How does a communist dictator die a billionaire? Because that's exactly what he did, the model of what I said. How does Therese Couleurs from Black Lives Matter, she's a self-described Marxist, how does she make tens of millions of dollars in own mansions all over the country? This is what they do. They tell you, and that guy from Louisiana who you pointed out, Joe Resinello, he thinks Donald Trump's the threat. I want to tell him, dude, what you were defending was not them. Was not them. But you know who might get it? Chris Cuomo might get it.
Get it. That's why I reached out to Trump. I wanted to just say, listen, I'm really sorry that this is going on and it's being dealt with this way. Not because I'm in favor of his politics or what he says. I criticize him all the time. That's my job, and he deserves it. But he doesn't deserve this. A guy pointing an AK-47 at him while he's playing golf? And we take solace in the fact that the guy didn't get any rounds off. If I had been through what that guy's been through in the last 2 months, you would not know where I am. You would never see me on TV again. No way I would do that. I don't know how he does it. He's got kids, they're adults, but he's got grandkids. He's got a wife. People giving crap to Melania Trump, worrying about whether or not there was a plot around his husband. How could she not? People mock her. And then her husband has a guy pointed with an AK-47. Where are those people apologizing? That's what it's time for. We are playing a dangerous game with ourselves. He is not a despot in waiting. Okay? I don't buy it.
He's right. I'm going to throw it
He's
right over
100.
to you.
You know, he is right. And I give him credit for saying that, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Especially
Yeah.
from the position. You got to give credit where credit's due. It's out of control. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think you can get the toothpaste back in the tube. You can't. It's already done. There's too many wackos. Do you hear? I listened to some footage of the gentleman who did just get arrested, who was the second shooter, basically.
Okay.
And holy crap, he's crazy, dude. Crazy. Going to the Ukraine. Like, I heard clips. I listened to a couple of interviews that pulled some footage of him. Completely nuts.
Right.
I mean, cuckoo nuts. Should have been in an institution. He was also a question. He was a known entity to the FBI since 2019. A known
there's a
entity.
shock. There's a shock.
But this isn't, again, what were we doing with that information? This is why isn't there a thorough investigation going on right now?
Right.
Right now. Doesn't
Mhm.
seem to me that there is, because it doesn't seem to be any concern or care. And that's disgusting. And Chris Cuomo nails it, and I give him credit for it.
I don't like Chris Cuomo. You got to give credit where it's due. There's something tells me that he probably did a lot of go along to get along when he was actually on his liberal network. So I'm assuming now he's independent after having been let go. Who was he with? CNN or
He's with
MSNBC?
CNN.
Yeah, CNN. And he got fired. Am I right?
Yeah. But he's very rich. I mean, Chris Cuomo, and he doesn't need, like, listen, Chris Cuomo, he's trying. And I listened to him, the interview with Tucker Carlson. I think he's trying, and he's making an honest step. And ultimately, I'll be truthful with you, I give him credit for that.
You gotta.
He's
listen.
rich. Joe, he doesn't have to work probably another day in his life.
Well,
If he did-
look. That's why I'm giving him that kind of credit, because he doesn't have to actually get out there and risk the cocktail parties, which is what he's doing right now. Because you know that clip that we just played of Chris Cuomo here at the front line with Joe and Joe, that got him disinvited.
No, absolutely. That's a fact. There you go. That's
What are you doing? What are you doing saying we can't do that to Trump?
100%.
He's supposed to be dead.
100%.
What do you mean, Chris?
He's not welcome at the country club anymore because
No,
of
he's
that.
not. Maybe he should understand that his father's brand of politics, first of all, his own personal BS position on abortion and everything else, he should get back to being Catholic. That would help him a long way. Number one. okay, and disassociate himself with his disgraziad brother and his disgraziad father, because that's what Mario Cuomo was. Bob Grant used to call him the sfacima, the tutti sfacim. That's what he used to call Mario Cuomo. He used to call him Mariul. He used to call him, Mariul Cuomo. All right. He should disassociate himself on those positions. Okay. Get right with the church and get his head on straight then. And then he'll realize his friends are not over there. They paid his bills for a long time. His friends are not over there. Okay. And I can't wait till the first time he wants to go to one of those cocktail parties, because you know what's going to happen. Then his videos are going to start getting progressively more to the point of pissing off the left. Remember, Tulsi Gabbard right now is a darling of the right. Okay. I have my questions about that. She's cool. All right. But she's a darling of the right. She's in the Democrat primary in 2020. So let's be clear. Okay. And now she's come around because why? Because she was disinvited to the cocktail party. And then she realized that and figured, well, if I'm not into the party, I'm going to go to the party over there and I'm going to go and hang out with those people. Chris Cuomo is probably going to do the same thing. But to your point, this is getting, it's almost surreal. Let me ask you this before I play Bongino. A man who was president of the United States, who is now running for president of the United States, gets 2 assassination attempts inside of 60 days. And there's no outrage over this. I feel like
no media coverage, Joe.
I'm not in America, I feel like.
No media coverage. How's that? Very little. It's completely forgotten. In fact, I watched which Lester Holt? Is he on ABC?
I think NBC.
One of the two.
Whatever.
I watched when it happened. He introduced it as the first headline, but it wasn't the feature story. Assassination attempt of Donald Trump. And then they went to Springfield, Ohio.
Right.
Joe.
To talk about the cats and dogs.
What? Again, as if that's going to put food on people's table. This is the distraction. And the sick part is people are so easily distracted by it. It's Joe, I'm going to be honest with you. I have never seen a people played so well. They propped up a woman that was despised by America. She had a 28% approval rating as the vice president.
Right.
The power of the media, they've elevated this woman into something that the people have bought hook, line, and sinker.
Right.
It is the sickest thing I have ever seen in my life. And it's, to be honest with you, I can't even believe that people are that gullible, but they are.
They are.
And I don't mean that. I shouldn't even say that because it's a criticism. I'm just flabbergasted.
Or Joe, or maybe they're not gullible. Maybe they hear everything and they say, I'm sorry, my positions are my positions, and I want America to reflect my positions. And they're the ones that don't care about democracy. They're the ones that don't care about representative government.
I actually think a lot of people either hate Donald Trump or they're just looking at things on the surface. And they're going to be equally as shocked when the effect of their policies come and whip. It's like the dragon's tail. I hear this in New York City. People will complain about the crime, about the subway, yet they voted for it.
Right.
And it's like, Joe, it's like schizophrenia.
How about all the cops? How about all the cops that voted for de Blasio?
This is my point.
And they want to go. They want to go. When I was living in Brooklyn, they were in Brooklyn, right around the corner from us, where the 2 cops got shot. They had the funeral right around the corner. All the cops came from all over the country, and they all turned their back on de Blasio. Half of you guys voted for him because you're a union man.
This is my point. I can't. It's like schizophrenia.
So what do you expect?
I've never seen anything like it before in my life.
Right. He took advantage of your, and this goes for the American people in general. They take advantage of your vote because you're a union person or this or that, and they tell you exactly what to think. My father used to say it all the time. The unions expect, my father was a Teamster. The union expects him to vote Democrat. My father said, I'm not voting for people who are pro-abortion. I'm not doing it. I don't vote Democrat. I don't vote for people who want to raise my taxes. I'm not voting for them. Okay. My father used to get a lot of crap from his fellow union members. No, Jerry, you Junior. Everybody called him Junior. Junior, you got to vote Democrat. My father said, F that. I'm not voting. What do you expect me to go out and vote for Bill Clinton? You expect me to vote for Michael Dukakis? I mean, this is when I was growing up. You know what I mean? But anyway, here's again, I hate to be so down, Joe, but that first guy, that first clip with that guy comparing Trump to Nazis, I let me not say what's on my mind because I don't want to get us in trouble here. But that guy really cheeses me off. Here's Bongino. So as if it couldn't get any worse.
If this continues, he's not going to make it to Inauguration Day, even if he wins. You hear what I just said? There's something that has to happen today. Congressman Chip Roy, Congressman Crane, Congressman Biggs, Congressman Mills. These are the guys who seem to really, really care about what happened. We did that hearing up there. Forgive me if I'm leaving anyone out. I'm asking you guys, because you seem to be the ones intensely concerned with keeping the president and potentially next president alive. There's something you need to get started on right now. Right now, meaning 10 minutes ago. If someone doesn't pass legislation reforming 18 U.S.C. 3056, Title 18 of the United States Code, Section 3056, that gives the Secret Service its power. If someone doesn't pass legislation today reforming that and removing their investigative function, I'm sorry, but you guys are behind the 8 ball.
And he's right. How are they not, like he's mentioning Chip Roy and these others, how are you not demanding? And this is where you have to shout in the House chamber and in the Senate chamber. You have to tell them we're taking away the investigative power of the Secret Service because they're not doing their job. They dropped the ball twice.
Joe,
so how do you trust these people?
That should be a given. How about this? We don't have a president right now. Who's the president? Who's the president?
I'll
We
tell you,
are
Joe
about
Biden with a straight face.
no one could look me in the face and tell me that Joe Biden is the president right now. By the way, we just gave or funded something like, well, we'll call them NATO, just funded the Ukraine with missiles that could potentially go into the interior of the Soviet Union. I listened to an interview today with Vladimir Putin, who said, if that is to take place, this is out of his mouth, the nations of the West, I will hold them responsible, and that is an act of war. Out of his mouth.
Right.
Who's the president? Who is the president? And I'm going to tell you who the president is. Unelected bureaucrats. Who was the president the entire time Joe Biden was in office, and who will be the president the entire time that Kamala Harris, if she's elected. And you're okay with that? You're okay with a system where unelected people make decisions? Because that's exactly what's going on right now. And we are in a situation where we could be in a hot war out of Vladimir Putin's mouth. Who's the president? Someone, and people, we'll call them a group of people who are not elected. That means we are not a democracy. That means you have no voice, and that should trouble you. It troubles me.
And the thing is, and there's a kid, I don't know his name. He's got a lot of followers on social media. He's like a little wise ass kid, right? Like maybe 21, 22 years old. He's like a jooch, you know? And he walks around with a microphone and he asks annoying questions, right? He reminds me of one of my cousins. He's a big jooch. He just asks annoying questions, but he makes you laugh, right? And he's asking these people questions. He's got the microphone. So finds an elderly couple, not elderly, older couple, wherever they were, and he says, what do you think about Donald Trump? We don't like him. Same thing. The guy's I've been a Democrat 50 years. Blah, okay, whatever. And he's going on and on. And at one point, this kid says, they obviously threw in the Donald Trump's a threat to democracy line, and he looked right by at them both. He had the microphone. He said, "Did you vote for Kamala Harris to be your nominee?" Oh no, that's different. Well, wait a minute. You didn't cast a vote for her. There was no democratic process in the Democratic primary. There was no Democratic primary. No, so did you vote? What about all the people in the Democrat Party who wants to vote, who maybe wanted to vote for RFK Jr. or wanted somebody different than the party wanted to anoint? What about all those people? You disenfranchised them. Who's the threat? These people didn't have an answer. They didn't have an answer. Why?
And yet
Because
they'll
as
still
Joy
vote
says,
for her.
they're entrenched.
No,
They're
it's Joe. Joe. It's a sickness. There's no other way to put it.
Joe, left or right, if you let politics cloud your brain so much and party loyalty cloud your brain so much that you can't make an independent decision outside of what the media and your party tell you, you are among the most pitiable of human beings. And I don't feel sorry for you. I don't. I register as a Republican, or I think I'm an independent here in Arizona.
I'm an independent.
I'm going to vote for a Republican. I'm going to vote for Trump. Okay. I'm going to go down the line probably, unless one of my friends tells me that I don't vote for this Republican, then I probably won't. I think completely independently of them. They will never tell me what to think. All right. Just because I happen to go out and vote for them. And if the time comes, guess what? I'll stay the frig home. I'll stay home. I don't care. I'll go and vote down ticket maybe for a couple of people. I'll write in Jesus and Mary for president and vice president.
I've done it.
I'll go home.
I've done it.
You know, I mean, seriously, but now here's a guy who they don't want to be president, who in hindsight, I'm not beating up on Donald Trump. In hindsight, this guy, I wish had a stronger showing during our primary, but he's doing the right thing every step of the way.
Signing an executive order assigning the case involving the attempted assassination of former President Donald Trump to the Office of Statewide Prosecutor under the supervision of Attorney General Ashley Moody. The suspect, Ryan Routh, is believed to have committed state law violations across multiple judicial circuits in the state. Palm Beach Judicial Circuit, the Judicial Circuit including Martin County, as well as perhaps the Judicial Circuit represented by Broward County. Also, the state of Florida has jurisdiction over the most serious, straightforward offense, which is attempted murder. I've directed state agencies to move expeditiously and to provide full transparency to the public. In my judgment, it's not in the best interest of our state or our nation to have the same federal agencies that are seeking to prosecute Donald Trump leading this investigation, especially when the most serious, straightforward offense constitutes a violation of state law, but not federal law.
Do you see how easy it is to fight them? Do you see how sometimes it's only a matter of political will? I'll give you two quick examples and I'll throw it over to you. That's one of them, telling the Secret Service and the federal government, F you. This is a state matter, and we're going to deal with it on a state level. Donald Trump doesn't hold political office. He's not president of the United States. He's not the vice president. He's not a congressman. He's not a senator. Okay. Right now, he's a private citizen. And that private citizen was on his own property in Florida playing golf while this guy was arrested. That's where DeSantis has a lot more stones than the rest of our party. And the other one, and I gave you an example of this last week, Joe Resinello, I'm going to throw it over to you, is when one of those George Soros DAs said, I'm not going to enforce any laws about abortion. You know what DeSantis did? He said, okay, you're fired. The guy tried to make it so you don't have the George. Yes, I do. I have the power. You're fired. You see how easy it is sometimes? It's a matter. Let me put it like this. It echoes what you say. I don't know if you put it like this, but it echoes what you say. You say many times on the show. You have to have the will to do it, knowing that it might be difficult. And in DeSantis's case, doesn't seem that difficult. He's got the stones to just say, I have the will to do this, and I'm going to do this. And I applaud him. I applaud him beyond belief.
Well, his actions are going to put pressure on the government because now they're going to have to, it's going to keep them honest. If anything, it's a check because you can't have a contradiction in investigation. They'll look really bad. So to his credit, good move. I'm interested to hear what they have to say. To be honest with you, I wasn't too comfortable with the FBI conducting that investigation because frankly, they haven't proved to me that they're doing a good job.
Or the Secret Service. That's what Bongino was calling for.
That's right. I mean, let's be truthful. The Department of Justice has been weaponized under the Biden administration. Again, that's an objective observation. Joe Biden was charged with the exact same thing as Donald Trump. Yet nothing happened to him. In fact, they even said he's too old to stand trial. Yet that he's okay to be the president.
Right.
I mean, like, this is just like stuff where you're like, we're living in like wacko world. Like, and people are okay with that. That's a problem, Joe. And
Well,
that's why our
listen, when
country's a mess. And
Joe,
it's an
and listen,
embarrassment.
no, I agree with you. And listen, I mean, I heard it my whole life with people saying, and people who just should know better, they're educated people, say, well, all that stuff that Orwell wrote in 1984, that's really over the top. That, first of all, the Soviet Union was doing exactly that. So was China. So did the Khmer Rouge. So did all of them. Okay, they were all out of the Marxist, the Marxist playbook. Okay, and even going back before that to the French Revolution. They'll all take their page out of that. Uprooting history, starting history all over again. Right is wrong, good is evil, war is peace, ignorance is bliss. All of it. And people say, well, it's George Orwell trying to make a point. No, he was trying to tell you something. He fought with the communists against Franco. Got shot, by the way. Okay. And after he saw how the communists operated, you know what he did? He went back to England and he wrote Animal Farm and he wrote 1984. Why do people have to have, why do we have to have people, we have to hit them over the head with this kind of stuff. I mean, here's a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Here's the queen of this crap.
2016, but I also think there are Americans who are engaged in this kind of propaganda, and whether they should be civilly or even in some cases criminally charged is something that would be a better deterrence, because
she is an evil witch.
Well, Joe, I can't even believe you could say that and get away with it.
But that's the mantra in the media now. Misinformation, disinformation. We'll play a clip from Germany in a few minutes. It's all the same thing. Free speech is no longer free speech, and they're the ones taking it away, while at the same time they call Donald Trump and everybody who supports him fascists.
No, but this is my point. It's pure projection. This is supposed to be America. Just because you don't agree with what I say doesn't mean you get to have the power to take it away.
Right.
I mean, I can't even believe that that's aired on the radio. I can't even believe that people aren't challenging that and aren't appalled.
Because they agree with it, Joe.
I know.
Because they agree with it.
Joe, that's what's scary.
Right.
That is what is, I'll be truthful with you. That's what's scary. They came up with the term malinformation. It's true, but it's dangerous to the quote unquote institutional democracy. What? If it's true, I want to hear it. And so should you. What, it just doesn't, it's not palatable to you?
Joe, you know people in your life, and so do I, that if they ever had the kind of power that they want, and let's say we were on a larger platform, and you don't even really need to be. Mark Houck wasn't on a larger platform. He wasn't even on a platform. They dragged him out of his house at 7 o'clock in the morning. There's people in your life that know what we do here at the front line with Joe and Joe, who, if you got arrested and I got arrested, I know people and people would say, well, they did kind of deserve it.
Oh, I know. There's no question about it.
No question about it. Say, you should have kept your mouth shut. Even if you do believe that, you should have kept your mouth shut. Right, I'm supposed to be like you. I'm supposed to be an effing lemming that jumps off the cliff because the media tells me to, or because I should just shut my mouth because it's all I need to worry about is making money, rather than actually having a society rooted in truth and reality.
Well, Joe, it's an obligation, to be honest with you, to fight for truth for your family. Yeah. I mean, I have children. Don't you like people who, you see, the mistake is this. I was talking to a friend of mine who lives out in LA, but he's from New Jersey, the guy I went to high school with recently. And he's like, well, people just kind of want to get their kids through school. What they don't realize, they're not protected. You see, people are under this delusion that right now I'm kind of comfortable, so I'm going to play it safe. The direction that this is going in, you're not in that class.
No.
And there's very few people. It might be 7% of America making a lot of money when it comes down to what they want to get done on a globalist level. And if you think I'm a conspiracy theorist, look what's going on in the UK. Look what's going on in the Netherlands. Look what's going on in Canada. Look what's going on in Australia. Look what's going on in many of the European nations. It's happening. The middle class is destroyed. That means that's coming here. They all belong to the same club. It's the same globalist agenda. That means you're not protected, which means you should be opening your mouth too. And
Well,
they don't.
Well, here's the thing. I think that there's a bunch of people, and I'm very hopeful, that are opening their mouth.
Hello, my name's Eli Beauchamp. I'm a registered Democrat, and I have been a registered Democrat all my life. By now, you might have heard that Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are running a joy campaign. Now, you know what would bring a lot of joy to my life? Lower prices at the gas pump, lower prices at the grocery store, affordable housing for my family, affordable housing for everyday Americans. But what did we get in return? A wide open border at our southern border. Millions of embedded illegal immigrants waltzing right into our country. They get food stamps, they get cash assistance, they get relocation and housing assistance.
Let's leave it there for a minute. Now, that guy's a Democrat who says he's voting for Donald Trump. But the reason why I cut it off there is because you see that guy right there is a perpetrator of the propaganda and malinformation that Hillary Clinton was talking about in that clip. She wants that guy taken down. That clip, that video clip we just showed, I think it's up to 2 million views. Okay, it's gone viral. All right, it's probably going to go more. He's just a regular guy on a beach. Why? What did he talk about, Joe? Talking about I want prices to come down. I want the border shut. Those are all going against the globalist agenda because all these things are being done by the globalists deliberately. And I wanted to play that clip, and I'm glad you sent it to me because to show you that's the guy Hillary wants either held civilly responsible or criminally responsible because he's just pissed off at the crap that we've all allowed them to get away with. And this so-called Biden administration to get away with. I'm going to throw it over to you, but that says it all to me.
Well, that's a metric that matters because he's a Democrat. He's not voting for the Democratic Party, and 2 million people are interested in what he has to say. Many of them are probably Democrats too. Like if I was a strategist for Harris and Walz and that goes viral, that's concerning. That's a metric that matters because the people who are going to determine the election are crossover votes and the undecided. Because sadly, political identity is alive and well in America. It's a disease and it has to be eradicated on both sides of the aisle. We should be absolutely, unequivocally unloyal, not loyal to any party, any politician. How does it affect you? Because they don't care. And here's a guy, he's a regular guy. He's talking about basic things. This isn't some esoteric conversation. This isn't some conversation in the halls of Cambridge. He's talking about eating. He's talking about buying basics for his family, and he can't do it. So why would you empower a group of people who are going to continue to strangle you? Joe, I can't understand it because here's another thing. For the last, how many years now? You had 8 years of Barack Obama, 4 years of Trump, 4 years of Joe Biden. So basically, for 12 of the last 16 years, this has gone on. You can't blame Donald Trump. You thoroughly and utterly own it. So why would you give someone the keys to the car after they parked it on your front lawn and ran over your mailbox? It's a sickness, Joe. It's a sickness.
I agree. I think there's a lot of people who are sick in that way. Like I said earlier, they're not going to accuse Joe and Joe of that because we're because we're political independents who know how to think independently of what our party tells us. They don't know that. The other flip side to that is this, Joe. The jury's out with me. I still don't believe they won in 2020. I think that because Trump won in 2016 and they didn't probably cheat as much as they should have, okay, and then they saw Trump actually won and she had to concede, that they made sure that was not going to happen in 2020. So the thing is, I agree with you. There are many, many, many people that are still going to vote for Kamala Harris, knowing that she's a totalitarian, knowing that her party, they want to destroy religion, private property. They're Marxists. That's what they are. They want to destroy all of it. Okay, they'll kill anybody. We know that from the abortion debate. If they'll kill little babies and they'll take a couple of shots at the former president of the United States, what do you think they'll do to you? All right, is what I would say. But the jury for me is still out on the cheating. But here's the thing. I think, me personally, I think it's going on all over the world. George Soros and his minions, they don't leave a stone unturned, whether it's here or whether it's in Germany.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear Klaus, let me go back to the number one concern of the Global Risk Report: disinformation and misinformation. Tackling this has been our focus since the very beginning of my mandate. With our Digital Services Act, we defined the responsibilities of large internet platforms on the content they promote and propagate, a responsible to children and vulnerable groups targeted by hate speech, but also a responsibility to our societies as a whole.
Legislation crafted, okay, that's going to tackle the number one concern, not Muslims raping women in France and the Netherlands, okay, not in Germany, that's not a concern. Not rising prices, not putting the clamp down on the farmers in France, okay, and then they protested that. Not all the shenanigans they do, okay, and not even the war in Ukraine. The primary concern of the EU is misinformation.
No, in all honesty, she's telling the truth. It is the primary concern because it threatens their power. You see, people have to see through that. It is a concern. It's a concern to them because information threatens their power structure. That's why Rumble is banned in France. That's why restrictions have been placed on X in Brazil. That's why they want to ban Elon Musk. That's why the EU had issue when Elon Musk interviewed Donald Trump. They do not want the information in the hands of the people because then they can't control the people. It is the number one concern. She's actually telling the truth, but people don't see through it. They don't see through it. And frankly, people don't pay attention to that forum. They should, because the messaging that comes out of the World Economic Forum, you listen to her, Dear Klaus. Who is he other than a sociopath? A sociopath that has caused so much suffering across the West. Dear Klaus, Christopher Columbus. People should pay attention because that messaging, you don't believe me? Look at the politics. Many people listen to us from Canada. Look what just happened to Canada after 8 years. Pricing of homes absolutely out of the reach of the middle class. Middle class people are never owning another home in Canada, ever. The cost of food is off the charts. Fuel is out of control. That's 8 years of a prototype of that forum. And I got news for you. Kamala Harris is no different than Justin Trudeau. And what has happened in California will make its way right across the United States of America under 8 years of Kamala Harris.
You're absolutely right.
Guaranteed.
Let me throw we're gonna have to sign off for tonight. Stick around, everybody. I want to play a clip for you as we exit. We always try to find something that's going to be informative. So stick around a minute. The hopeful sign in all this, Joe, is because they're going through to such lengths to put the kibosh on free speech, all right, and try to redefine speech, control speech, creation, and all of it. The hopeful sign is because they know that there's more of us than there are of them. There's more people who think like us, or at the very least want to have a conversation and are not afraid of conversations, okay? And that's what they fear, which shows me that that's a hopeful sign. And I will also give you, and I think I might say this every single show and end with it. Let's remember out there that the most powerful regime to ever exist in the world was the Soviet regime for 70 years. One can make that argument. And the beginning of the end of the Soviet Union started in Poland with an appeal to God, not guns, not bullets, not force, God. And the Soviets knew they were finished. I will always say that. Joe, I'm going to give you 30 seconds for a final word, please.
People have to put down their political identity. People have to seriously look at what grounds them. What do you hold valuable? If you don't hold the costs that basically keep your family secure, and you value your identity as a Democrat or a Republican over that, that is something that you should reevaluate. And it's very easy to assess. Look at your checkbook. Look in the refrigerator. It's that simple. That's your poll. That's your measure. And if you can't see past that, if you somehow rationalize that away, I got news for you, my friend. That simply is a sad state of affairs. That has to change. And if that doesn't change, America will never change.
I agree. Good place to end it. All right, so stick around. We got a clip for you. Remember, Joe and Joe go live every Thursday night, 9 o'clock Eastern time, where we do this show. Thank you, Anthony. What's up, brother? And everybody else who joined us in the chat room. And also, we have all of our Veritas Catholic Radio Network interviews on our X, Rumble, YouTube, Facebook. Some really good conversations there. We think you'll enjoy them. Some very prominent people on some very pertinent topics. So maybe check that out. And most importantly, we don't ask you for much. Hit a button for us. Hit a like, hit a subscribe, hit a share. Do all that fun stuff. Remember, until the next time, that our conversation is your conversation, and that conversation is going on everywhere. We'll talk to you soon.
Plan to entrench single-party rule, explained in under 2 minutes. 1. Flood the country with untold millions of illegals by land, sea, and air from all over the world, enough to eclipse the populations of 36 individual U.S. states so far. 2. Prioritize the needs of these millions of non-citizens over the needs of the American citizen, with free flights, buses, hotels, meals, and phones, ensuring their loyalty to the political party that imported them. 3. Keep them in the country at all costs, even when they commit violent crime like murder and rape. Attack the language used to describe the criminals, as opposed to the criminals themselves. Slander critics as racist. 4. Ensure their privileges are made irrevocable with city and state sanctuary laws that act as population magnets. Codify permanent status and ensure non-cooperation with ICE. 5. Count the non-citizens in the census that will determine congressional apportionment in the House of Representatives. As of now, that would equal 13 extra congressional districts, a tremendous amount of electoral power. 6. Wage a massive, heavily funded lawfare campaign to change state voting laws that legalize mass mail-in ballots, no signature verification, and no proof of citizenship requirements, making it nearly impossible to prove voter fraud. 7. Lock in the permanent voting majority with campaign promises of lavish benefits and permanent privileges, enshrining generational fealty to the Democrat Party. 8. Win elections. 9. Entrenched single-party rule has been achieved. The best part?